Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the May 9th, 2023 Lower Makefield Township Park and Recreation Board meeting. We will call this meeting to order, and the first order of business is roll call. I see virtually we have Kim Rock. Hi, Kim. Mike Blundy. In person here, we have Dave Malinowski, Supervisor Fred Weiss, Michael Brody, our Park and Rec Director, Monica Tierney, and myself, Doug Krause. Absent is Rob Labar, and I think Dennis is trying to log in and will join us shortly. First order of business is the approval of the March 14th meeting minutes. Anybody have any comments? Not, does anybody want to make a motion to approve? So moved. Second by Dennis and by David, second by Michael Brody. All in favor? Aye. All right.
Aye.
All right. Before we get into the next order of business, I just want to take a moment to recognize one of our own for their most recent accomplishments and recognition. Our Director of Park and Rec, Monica Tierney, has just obviously most of you are aware, became the first accredited township and led that as part of CAPRA. And she just received the presidential citation from the from the Pennsylvania Recreation and Park Society at the PRPS conference. So Lower Makefield again was the first in PA to be accredited, one of 193 accredited agencies in the United States, and one of 5 in the Northeast region. She's currently going to be a mentor for the Williston Parks and Recreation District in North Dakota. So hopefully you travel there in the summer and not in the winter. The department is going to be highlighted in the July National Recreation Parks Association magazine. And we also are going to be the highlighted community for the Pennsylvania Recreation and Park Society. So just wanted to make sure that your recognition is due. And again, congratulations and thanks for all your hard work for the township. All right. On our next is Keith Brown. Are you here? You're the one with the with the uniform. So I guess that's you, Keith, right? So come on up and he's going to give us a presentation about an Eagle Scout project. I think everybody got the materials, but I know you're going to show presentation. Yeah. All right, great. So just give us your name, address, what troop, all the other fun stuff about yourself. Sure. All right, we have a technical
sharing. I don't know what's going on.
He had it too.
He's gonna do it. Oops.
You good?
Awesome. All right.
Yeah, so it's like
All right, I'm Keith Brown. This is my 5 Mile Woods Garden Eagle Project proposal. And you can see in the 2 photos I put on the cover slide, that is the garden as it stands right outside of the 5 Mile Woods, right by the entrance building. And that's what I plan to fix up and replace. Thank you. So first, a little bit about myself. I'm 17 years old. I'm a member of Troop 10 of Yardley, PA. I attend Pennsbury High School. I run track and field as well as cross country. I also play soccer for YMS, and I've been participating in scouting since 1st grade, so 11 years now. And I forgot to add it, but I'm also a lifeguard at the LMT pool. All right, next slide. All right, so firstly, just some general stuff about my project. So how did I decide on this project? I decided on this project after discussing with Mrs. Tierney on what project would best fit my personal concerns and most benefit the township. And then after this, I met with, I'm going to butcher his name, Mr. Halferty at the location of the project, and further discussed what would be the best course of action. What is this project? The project itself inclines removing the old garden structure located at the entrance of the 5 Mile Woods and replacing it with a similar shaped structure that will properly hold the garden inside, as well as be made to last the elements. And finally, how will the project benefit LMT? The project itself will best benefit the township by creating a new centerpiece to the entrance of the 5 Mile Woods, making the already beautiful landscape more welcoming to visitors and hopefully attracting more attention to the trails. For the project, I plan to use the following tools: power drill and large bit for the stakes, power drive and bit for the screws, pilot hole drill bit, sledgehammer, shovels, level, miter saw, chainsaw, handsaw, bevel gauge, power cords, pry bar, measuring tape, pencil and chalk, framing square, and speed square. For materials, I plan to use 6x6 pressure treated railroad ties, 12 of those. 2x2 pressure treated balusters, 24 of those, 2 to 4 pressure treated rail, or 2/4 pressure treated rails, 8 of those, 12 rebar spikes, and two boxes of exterior deck screws, wood preservative stakes, and string gravel. For supplies, I plan to use safety glasses, masks, ear protection, chip brushes, trash bags, food and water, tarp, work gloves, and sandpaper. And for labor needs, I'll recruit members of my troop, friends, and family members to help in the construction of the project. For township assistance, I will need help from the township in removing and disposing of the old materials from the original garden. On top of that, I might see if I can get like gravel from the township. I know that for my brother's project, he was able to get gravel from the township, so I'm going to see if I can do that. For safety considerations, I want to make sure that heavy wood is carried safely and work gloves are used. Only adults will be able to use the power tools. I will need to make sure that power tools are used safely away from other people. I need to make sure that eyes and ears are protected when the adults use power tools. I need to make sure that masks are worn, and when someone cuts pressure treated wood, I need to make sure eyes and skin is protected when someone uses the wood preservative, and only older scouts can use power drivers and large hammers. Logistics: the heavy materials can be delivered to the park by the material supplier, and my dad and I can transport supplies and tools as well as volunteers. Parent volunteers and scout parents can drive workers to the park. And for timing, I plan to do my project the second half of July. All right. Project phases, just so some next steps: proposal and presentation, which now township, troop, and council approvals, scheduling, recruiting, and purchasing, fundraising if necessary, create final design and task list, and planning project work days, project completion, and sign off. And then just next steps: completing approvals, including signatures on the Eagle workbook, setting final date and rain date, recruiting volunteers, and ordering materials and supplies. And that's it. Thank you guys for listening.
Thank you, Keith. Open it up for any questions from board members.
Nice job on the presentation. Are you going to be doing the garden also, or more the structure around the garden?
So more of the structure around it. I was told that the actual stuff inside the garden just didn't, they didn't really want me to change anything. So that's going to stay how it is. If they want me to do anything later on, then I will.
Good project.
Yeah, thank you.
When he says they, he means the Friends of 5 Mile Woods. So this is something the Freds have wanted to do for a long time. So he's addressing their need.
How long do you anticipate this will take? You said you'll start it in back half of July. Is this a 1-day project, a 1-week project?
Yeah, so I'm thinking that the planning itself obviously is going to take a lot longer, but just executing it, I'm planning on 2 days.
2 days.
So, yeah.
Mike or Kim or Dennis, welcome. Any
Thanks for your
questions?
presentation. I thought it was great. So you're going to get friends and scouts and parents to help. How many people do you think will be involved?
So I'm hoping to get around 5 friends, hoping to get at least 10 scouts for my troop to sign up. And then same with parents, I'm hoping to get around 5. So probably around 20 people. And then obviously myself and my dad.
Great. I look forward to seeing it.
Yep. Thank you.
One thing is keep in mind will be directing people away from the construction, because isn't that kind of like the center part of the entrance?
Yeah.
Like to just the whatever those logistics are.
Yeah, I just, I think this is a real worthwhile project, and, I hope you guys can, pull it off. I went over today, just looked at it, and it's definitely in need of, redoing. And so many other things over there are in need of redoing. So I'm glad that you're taking this on and getting it fixed up.
Yep. Thank you.
We definitely, again, thank you for your presentation. Well done, very thorough and detailed. We look forward to seeing this once it's complete. But before we get there, we do need to make a motion to approve the project. Does anybody want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve Eagle Scout Keith Brown's Eagle Scout project.
I'll second it.
So we've got Michael Brody with the motion and Dave Malinowski with the second. Any public comment? If none, call to order. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right. Any opposed? None. All right, Keith, we send us a picture or back to Monica once it's all complete, so we can let the township know of all your fine work. Thank you.
Thank you. Just get the signature.
Have a good rest of the school year.
All right, next agenda item is the potential permanent art. We can do that. We can shift. All right, yeah, off agenda. Here's a letter. And people at home, sorry, did you email them?
No, I just got this one.
All right, is it Livia? Come on up and state your name and. Yep, either one. I just have to make sure the microphone's turned on, I believe. Just state your name and where do you live?
Okay. So my name is Olivia Maxian. I live on 24 Lower Hilltop Road in Yardley. And we live in Lower Makefield Township for 48 years. And we are members of the LMT pool from the beginning. So it's 42 years. I think that's what it is. And I don't know if all other board members didn't see our email, right?
We just got it this evening.
You just got it. And so can I read it for them? Because
Yeah, or you can hit the highlights, but they don't have a copy on the
yes,
people
so I
virtual.
can
So,
just-
yep.
I am just following on our conversation where I asked about with Mrs. Tierney about possibility of fee reduction for multiple children and guests. We are citizens of Lower Makefield Township in good standing, taxpayers for 48 years. Also, we are members of LMT pool for 42 years. We are 82 and 80 years old retirees. We love LMT pool and we love to take with us some of all our 8 minor grandchildren who love our pool as well. We have 8 grandchildren at age of 5 to 12. They don't live in Lower Makefield Township, but they live close to visit us, and we love to have them and babysit them. But, to pay, we love LMT pool and we love to take with us some of our 8 minor grandchildren who love our pool as well. $20 entrance fee would amount to $160 for single entrance. This is simply too much for us, so we can not take our grandchildren with us. We would appreciate, and this is like double hardship, because one hardship is to tell them, well, although it's a beautiful day, we cannot go because it's too much money. And other hardship is to pay $160. It's not always 8 grandchildren. It is 2 families, 5 and 3. But from 5 live closest, they live in Doylestown, so it's mostly 4. But even $80 twice a week is enough. So we would appreciate if you could present, so this was for Mr. Tierney, for our request for relief to the board. Our suggestion is that senior citizen would pay $20 for one or multiple minor children guests. And I mean, they're still 18 years old because some of our grandchildren are 12, 2 of them. They will be 13 next year and they will be 18 very soon. This arrangement, if board would be so kind to amend the policy, would result in a small increase in pool revenue, since past people like us may choose not to take any minor grandchildren with them. Thank you for your effort trying to help us and other retired township citizens. So it's my presentation. My English is not perfect, although we live here for a long time. English language is very difficult.
You did great.
So
No, appreciate you bringing that to our concern, and up to us to address. I don't know if Monica, I don't have the rate fees in front of me, so I wanted to see what the.
Yeah, I believe the booklet is $180. It's $20 a head, or after 4 o'clock, there's a reduced rate of, I don't know what it is after 4 o'clock
There's not, it's $20
for a whole day.
and there's not we don't offer a discounted booklet like for buy.
Yeah, we have it. If you buy 10, it's essentially get 2 free, I believe it is.
2 free, so that's $180 then.
Yeah.
For 10. And then what's the membership for a family get out of this? Do you recall?
Well, it's all different. It's all a la carte now. So it just depends on who from the family is signing up.
I mean, if I was just trying to do the math, like if another, like that.
I mean, if they were
What-
coming enough, a membership would be more beneficial.
That's what I was trying to get at, if there was another.
Mhm. Yeah, we went through all the different scenarios in the office when we talked.
Okay.
Mhm.
So Monica, is the scenario that she described the best one available to her at this point, which is $20 per head for each grandchild?
Well, it depends on how often the children come. If they're coming all the time, it might be more beneficial for them to get at least buy memberships. If they are only coming 1 time or 2 times, it might be more beneficial to buy a booklet?
Well, they coming, in the summertime, they can come like twice a week. Not all 8 of them. All 8 of them, it happens, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 times during the summer. But those which live in Doylestown, they can come twice a week. And so even $80 twice a week is $160 again, even if 4 of them only come, because then one is not so interested. So it's still lots of money for people on Social Security. So this is why we asking if you can consider some just one-time fee. Okay, so for 2 children or 3 children or 4 children, even 8 children, just $20.
I mean, I don't know that the board is ready to make any kind of decision on that today. Yeah, it might be something that we have to, I mean, it's either something that we review next board meeting or something we bring up during fee structuring next year, but it definitely requires a lot more thought than spur of the moment.
Well, next year, maybe we will be not even live anymore. So that's the problem. This summer is very important for us because we still are able and thanks God, we're healthy enough to take care of our grandchildren. And I would really love to bring them to the pool, but to pay so much money, it's just terrible.
Thank you for bringing it. I mean, we can't make a decision today, but thank you for, when I say we, I mean the board, because it wasn't on.
I think
I
from
think-
from the board, what we can do is like our responsibility is to look at the total fees for all the different scenarios. So when you pull up like what the membership options are, that's as a board, what's kind of what we look at. I think I would defer to Monica on or on this case, whether or not that's something
Yeah, I don't
collectively.
think-
I don't think we would change the fee structure and say if you're over tonight, as if you're a senior citizen and you bring your minor grandchildren, that we would change the fee structure as it is today. So if this is a one-off, that would be a separate really conversation that then I would look to whether or not that's something that you want to do off.
So if you will make some decision, I think all senior citizens will appreciate any amendment what you will send by the email, even for this year.
Right. I'm not discounting the proposal, but it's just probably not a proposal that we would undertake for the current swim season, right? For the total fee structure, we would look at it for the 2024 season. I think any exceptions that would be something that I think Monica would have to.
Yeah, I mean, it would have to be something that we do across the board for the whole season.
Right.
I know that you're not the only one.
Yeah.
I understand. She's not the only grandmother or grandfather who have asked for a reduced rate. It's just something we'd have to look at big picture to see if it's even something that is feasible.
Yeah, Dennis, sorry.
But I don't think there are too many of us either. And you mentioned some booklets. So what it is for, how much? 180?
Yeah, for 10 passes.
So it's $18 per child.
Yes. That's yeah.
Not a big really.
Dennis, you have a question?
I'm wondering
Here's a question.
if the parents of the children are able to offset any of the cost of their children coming to visit you with you taking them to the pool.
They will pay for that, or what do you mean?
Yes, I'm asking, I know it's very nice that as grandparents, you want to take your grandchildren to the pool. Is it possible that their parents could send them with $18 or $20 so it's not a burden on you?
So far, it didn't work in our family like that. When children came for the babysitting, we just where we took them, we paid for that. So I don't know how I will tell them that, well, if you want them to you want us to take them to the pool, you have to pay for it. Although they are members of the pool in Doylestown, but they like to come to our house and they like our empty pool. They like your slides. So it's very difficult to tell them, and we don't have so much money for that. And also it's difficult to ask money from my children. I just don't know. Please think about that because we really would love to.
Kim has a question.
I just have one question, and I apologize because I probably should know this, but if a grandparent buys a child's membership, is that assigned to a specific child or is that interchangeable, just a child in general?
Well, generally, the child has to be associated with a same house adult. So someone in their household has to have a membership too. Right now, that is how it is, same household.
And then is it the specific child's name though, or is it just a child?
It's a specific child's name.
Got it. Okay. And I know we're obviously not discussing this tonight, but I'm just thinking out loud for going forward. Maybe there's some kind of grandchild membership that could be interchangeable grandchildren coming with the grandparent. Maybe that would help.
Yeah, I'll just say to Kim's point, I definitely have some thoughts for like next year, but you know, as unfortunately with the pool opening in 3 weeks,
Mhm.
you know, we've been selling memberships for how many months now? 3, 4 months.
It's January.
I got mine in January.
Yeah.
That it's kind of challenging to really get anything across the table right now.
Yeah. And there are many grandparents who've bought booklets.
But not only that, like to me, I'll have the conversation a little bit just to say that, like when I think about my family and our needs along the same lines, like I would have gladly paid an extra $100 for my membership to be able to bring like a babysitter spot where like, you know, it's not necessarily like it might be Jesse, it might be Amanda, it might, you know, but like, so, you know, maybe there's ways that we could, as we're discussing next year's memberships, that we can get creative in what we allow. But then there's also your risk concerns that I know you when you do this, you're like,
No.
there's something risky going on that you're concerned about. So
Busted. I have a tell, it turns out.
but
No.
but yeah, almost like a super guest pass of sorts.
Yeah.
You know, where maybe you could identify 3 or 4 people that would be allowed to be put down and have to go through the registration process, or you know, and what, you know, whatever the case may be. Worthy discussion to try to.
And are they mostly, do they come, like, because we also have the discounted August membership only, right?
Yeah.
So-
So, yeah.
I don't know when, you know, but
You know, they somebody leave after 4 o'clock, but they like to come, you know, when we babysit them, they come in morning.
Mhm.
And they like to go to the pool and it's so hot. So it's really challenging for us. So you gave very nice membership for senior citizens. I really appreciate that. But maybe you can think about, they want to bring their grandchildren too. What you can do about that. If it will not work for us next year and maybe for other people, I'm sure they will appreciate it.
thank you for
Thank you
coming
for
in and
coming.
bringing it to our attention. All right, Monica, next on the agenda is the art donation. We have, is there a picture everybody got in the packet, right?
It's not a very good image to share.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Thought it was,
I like it. What you like?
I don't know.
Monica, did something happen to the volume? I'm suddenly having a hard time hearing everybody.
Necklace you used to wear with candies around.
Can you hear me now?
Here you go.
Is that good? So Bet, the director from Artist of Yardley, had mentioned an artist reached out to her, John Costanza, who creates sculptures for public art. He's in his 90s, and he would like to donate a piece of permanent art to the township. And when Bet brought this to me, the sculpture, if I can find a picture real quick, I'll pull it up. But when Bet brought this to me, I just thought it was great, but I didn't know where we could potentially put it as a permanent sculpture. So I figured I'd bring it to the park board and we could maybe discuss the idea of some permanent. I imagine now with Art in the Parks that we might have other donations or people who might reach out to us. Maybe we need to consider setting some parameters and guidelines. I also had a couple little red flags, like this is a temporary installment that we're doing. So it'll be here for 3 months, then it goes back and they rehab the art at Seward Johnson. But for this would be ours permanently. So who then would be taking care of the sculpture in the park? It's not necessarily within our scope to do this stuff. I have a feeling that this is something that we really need to start considering moving forward, forward with Art in the Park and installations like this. But I just wanted to open the discussion to see ideas. Kim came up with a very creative idea today for pool memberships. I'm hoping she's got her juices flowing today, and maybe she can give some recommendations for Art and for, so we can decide if we want to take this on, or moving forward when we do get a donation, how are we going to handle the acceptance of something like that?
I just had a couple of questions to start. Timing of this, was there a timing when this was supposed to be, if we were to proceed, is it immediate or is this September? Was there any discussion as to when we would have to take possession?
I don't think there's any real strict timeline on it. I think he's open to donating it.
Was there expectations like we're supposed to make this like a public like special event around it, or do we just put it up and then just tell somebody? I didn't know what was the expectations from him as the sculptor and the artist as part of this, if there was any even conversations around that.
There was no conversation around that. I mean, I shared with you the email. That's the information I have.
Okay. The only reason I was asking is like, we're doing this temporary exhibit where we're going to have sculptures around town.
Yeah.
And so without trying to conflict with what we're doing there, and then, do we include that as part of that and then that one remains, but it's not the same theme, or is this something we do after the fact? And if we get good responses from having sculptures around town, is this something that we would want to pursue with having something on a more permanent? So these are just some of the questions that I had. And obviously not having a better picture of what the sculpture is would help us probably make a decision as well, if it's something that would.
Yeah, better image. I think I'll try and pull one up if I can.
I'm all in favor of continuing to build on, what, if successful, the arts in the park and the sculptures. I think it's just understanding what type of sculptures I know we don't have a policy that we've written for this, other than, I don't know if it falls up.
The acceptance of gifts.
Right, but this might be a little different, so it just might fall into something that we haven't yet kind of touched on, so. Anytime something new comes up, we need to think about before we take something and then we open up a flood of.
This is the best image I
Go ahead, Dennis, sorry.
I was just going to ask you if we could consider maybe an extension of the signage policy, because there's a lot of similarities. Someone wants to commemorate something in the park, name something after someone. And not that this is being named, but it at least talks about certain guidelines, things that would or wouldn't be allowed, etc. And I don't know if in this case, this could be handled as a one-off, just simply because we know there's a preference to have this near the AOI, and if there's reasonable room by the AOI, and this passes the reasonable standards of,
sorry, Dennis.
or standards of reasonableness, I would say, then we could just have it installed at the AOI and as a.
But I think to your point also, it's understanding the sculpture, right, or the artist too, right? So, who is the artist? Does he have any ties back to the county, or who is he? So even though there's a sculpture, I think we need to make sure that the artist is vetted
Right.
per se, right?
So just to follow up on, we did look at Patterson Farm as a possibility. The only thing is we are in the process of a master plan. So putting something permanent there, after having a long discussion, we determined it's not the time for that. Artisan Yardley, while we love them, they are still a leasee of land, so 10 years, 20 years, maybe they grow out of the space and they move somewhere else. And then we have a sculpture on site. So that's just something to consider too.
Are these
How
sculptures,
big is
is it truly permanent? Like, can you move? Aren't they movable, right? Probably movable.
I believe it's 15 or 16 feet tall. It's pretty significant. It looks like this, but it looks like clay colored, very similar. This is the best picture I can find online, unfortunately. But it's significant in height.
So, I mean, I have a bunch of thoughts on this. I love the idea. I agree in general, like the idea of having art around town. Like, I think what Yardley's doing in the borough is really nice. So I like that idea. I could see this at Veterans Square, in a corner of Veterans Square potentially, which is kind of close to Artisan Yardley and in theory part of the historic district. I'm horrified by the concept of a 16-foot tall sculpture with no that looks climbable.
Yeah.
Going in the parks. I see a lot of I coach.
Brody, is your mic on?
Say that again.
Is your mic on?
Yeah, it is. Can you not hear me?
Yeah, no, I can.
I would worry like I'm curious to see what happens with the art installation we have again from coaching baseball, like where gum is going to be stuck, where gum, so I wouldn't want to disrespect the whatever park we put it in. Like if we're putting it in, we're trying to do something nice, right? Like it's to serve a purpose. So those are kind of my original concerns. I definitely have like real safety concerns of this particular sculpture, just in terms of like, it's really tall. It's probably pretty narrow. Like, what do we have to do for security or to keep it like upright? And, does it go into the ground? Like, I just don't know anything about it, but those would be questions that we would definitely want to like ask on that. Consider.
So maybe amending the naming policy, setting some standards for what kind of art we would take is a great idea. Dennis, I think that was Dennis that said that, right?
Yeah.
I expanded upon it.
And you expanded even further.
But there's I don't know what space is at the community center or right here at the township building. Like, so there's still there's still township owned facilities that we could,
There's less playgroundy.
less, where less, but more adults are visiting versus kids. That might
Less
be library. I don't know, is that our land or is that the town, or is that the?
Basically
county?
our land. And, I think nobody's going to object to art in Lower Makefield.
No.
But to consider it, which we tended not to consider in the past, is things like how it's going to be displayed, security, and a maintenance, what's going to cost to maintain this over decades. So, and this is a permit, this will be dedicated to the township.
Yeah.
So, you might want to consider an art policy going forward, especially if the temporary exhibits become permanent exhibits in the township. Yardley has sponsors, so Lower Makefield does everything with the residents. It's the residents are usually bear the expense. So you need to consider how that's going to dive with the contribution.
So Dennis, you have your hand up, your little hand.
Thank you. I think that art, I think by and large, people probably would not object to art installations or art being displayed throughout the township. But I do, like anything else, there are some thresholds. I don't know when art might actually offend people in some cases. And so I think in those cases, we probably wouldn't want to necessarily include it or show it or display it. But I don't know how we would have expertise in determining that, but it's kind of making me think that maybe there has to be some sort of like an art review subcommittee or something that can talk about the artist's intentions and what it means, and kind of bless to something before it would even be moved forward for consideration. But yeah, no fuss.
Michael, go ahead. You have a comment?
Yeah, I was to have something forever seems like a really long time. The art in the park that we're doing now, the vendor comes in, he sets it up, they display it for a period of time, and then they take it away, they take it down, they leave the area as it was. So, this is something different altogether. It would be forever. It would be a permanent. Once it gets, once it decays or, gets, broken, or, we would be responsible for, maintaining it. And, forever is just a long time.
I like the idea of a panel. I mean, we have a lot of great artists in the township. I have a neighbor who installs sculptures for a living. So, I mean, I feel like this is right up her alley. If, I don't think any of us probably know what things to think about, but if we had someone who was a professional that could weigh in on what things we may or may not be thinking about, or even, if there's other townships that have had art donations like this that are not just temporary things, but permanent things, maybe they could give some tips. I feel like there's probably just a lot that we don't know to be able to make a determination.
I agree. I think, our temporary exhibit is our ability to walk first before we run and kind of see what kind of response we get. Like I said, we believe that the public will embrace the statues and the sculptures, and that may be, to Fred's point and to Mike's point, it's temporary, and we don't have to worry about, the cost associated with the ancillary things that come along with a permanent. Now, maybe if you're hanging paintings inside a building versus a sculpture outside, it might be a different conversation. But to Dennis's point and Michael's point, we still should probably have something drafted that would address whether it's sculptures or paintings or anything that's donated that the township wants to keep forever, right? I don't know if we obviously need to get back to.
Yeah, that we talk about like it's September when we start.
There was no timing to this, right?
No, just
I mean, the sculpture, like the information you received didn't specify any, like, he wasn't, timeline, right? He was looking to get rid of, donate it as soon as possible, right? You don't know. We don't know why he wants to get rid of it.
But let's not miss the opportunity either.
No, I think we have some follow-up questions, and so that's
Right. I mean, if it doesn't cost a lot to maintain,
that's where I think, to Kim's point, we need to
is it?
provide the board of supervisors.
You can ask staff to research it a little bit to see what displaying it somewhere would cost and, to the township. And then you can make a decision on what you would recommend.
Microphones.
Chief could probably give us a sense of his risk concern in terms of timing and.
Yeah, there's a risk element and there's a maintenance element, and all these things they all add up. So
I mean, we briefly looked up the artist. There wasn't a lot of information. It was there, but I mean, obviously that would be
There, and it's there was an art installation that went in that was like I forget where it was, but I feel it was two people hugging, and it's supposed to be really symbolic. But if you looked from the wrong angle,
that's in Boston.
yeah, and if you looked at the wrong angle, it
Yeah.
was deemed very inappropriate from one way or another. And, so yeah, I would definitely want to dip my toe in the water on how we handle this one, but
Yeah,
I love the idea. I love the idea of more art, but
Art makes people think. Some people get offended.
Yeah.
So be it.
it creates community conversation.
That's right.
Mhm.
Dennis, do you still have a question or did you just not take your hand down?
No, it's a new question.
Okay.
I'm not sure anyone has the answer to this, but maybe if we have a dialogue with the artist or some other group, we could ask them this. But if this wasn't offered to Lower Makefield as a donation, where would that art end up? And it doesn't really, the specific answer isn't important right now, but if it ends up going somewhere to a museum or other resting place for that artist's art, maybe everything could be considered term. Like whatever it is, we gratefully accept it, we install it, but at the point where it becomes too much to maintain or it starts decaying or something, then it can be moved to that final resting place, whether it is a museum or this artist's warehouse or whatever. But just a thought, and again, I don't think anyone has the answer here, but
That's a good point. I mean, if it's something, it would be more of a temporary exhibit versus permanent,
Yeah.
right?
everything's temporary until it's deemed to be problematic. So
All right, so I think next steps then here are, we do have some follow-ups that we need addressed before we can make a decision and or recommendation to the board of supervisors. So I don't know, Monica, do you have all the notes kind of?
Yes, I've been taking notes. I'll take a look at the policy. I'll do some outreach to other municipalities for their policies and experience with receiving art. See what we can come up with.
we get more info about the actual installation.
Yeah.
Like what he wants to do, how, all that.
Yes, of course.
I remember, was it in the note, did it say why Lower Makefield or Art, so Yardley, is it in there? No, that's the pool one. I'm trying to find.
I know, I just moved mine too.
It doesn't really say.
Oh, he wanted it to be put on the Janney house.
No, that's where.
Originally, yeah.
Offered the
Gotcha,
donation of
yeah.
the sculpture. But I don't know if he wants it there or the AOI
Yeah.
wants it there. I don't know what the background was, like how the AOI is the preferred donation source, so. All right, anything else on that topic? Otherwise, we can move on to, I don't know if there's any liaisons here. Oh, you have one liaison? Okay.
Mhm.
Come on up, tell us your
I think the
name.
mic is still on.
What-
Name is Maureen McGroarty. I live at 314 Yardley Langhorne Road. I'm here in George Schlieven's place. I'm secretary on the board at YMS, so he asked me to give an update. So
You drew the short straw tonight.
yes, so I was voluntold. So I've never done this before, so hopefully this is the kind of stuff you want to hear in a liaison report. I wanted to start by thanking the PAA for allowing us to use Field H at Makefield for our 2 weeks of tryouts. It made a huge difference in the way we were able to move forward. And certainly if we can return the favor, we would love to do that. But it's that kind of community partnership that, that really does mean a lot. So we're grateful for that. We have our Epic tournament this weekend. We have 300 teams coming from all over. We have 6 different sites. So 3 here in Lower Makefield and then 3 in New Jersey. We have volunteers lined up to help with parking. And again, of course, we'll put signs along River Road and we'll have volunteers in the surrounding neighborhoods around Makefield to make sure that people are not parking there.
Are you running shuttles to this parking lot?
No, because we're using so many sites now,
You don't need to run
we're
shuttles.
able to, we have people volunteering for parking, but parking is not the kind of issue. We don't anticipate it to be the kind of issue that it had been. So my husband volunteered for parking a couple of those years and I know it got sticky. But yeah, we don't have to do the shuttle anymore. Then we have our recreation program is growing by leaps and bounds. This spring, we have 960 kids signed up for recreation soccer. And we're seeing a lot of growth actually in the older age groups. Reza, who runs the recreation program for us, has done a really great job of being creative about a lot of the timing. You know, we have age groups that like our middle age groups that play on Friday nights, and we have the older kids who play on Saturday mornings, and it's really offered them the opportunity to do other things and play soccer. And so those age groups are growing, which is a lot of fun. And of course, the fact that we got the World Cup helps too. that the US got the World Cup, I think that probably helps also. We've been doing a lot of service. That's been an initiative of ours this year. We, from October to now, we've run 7 different initiatives. We had teams help with the Lake Afton cleanup in October. We did an equipment drive in October and November to benefit the Parks and Rec youth in West Philadelphia. We collected new soccer balls, cleats, shin guards, goalie gloves, etc. And they were very appreciative for our help. We had kids in November help with the Race the Course 5K, handing out medals, directing people where to go. That supported the Fold of Honor Foundation, but that was a Parks and Rec initiative. We ran a Toys for Tots collection. We collected soda, snacks, water, delivered it around to our community partners, the Lower Makefield Fire, Police, Ambulance, Parks and Rec, and Public Works, and then Yardley Police and Fire. We did that in February, and the kids had a lot of fun delivering those. We helped the rain barrel distribution for the township. We had about 10 players and 2 coaches there to help with that. And then, of course, Special Stars running. So over the last 6 months, we have over 250 community service hours, and I'm really proud of that. And that's an initiative we'd like to keep going. From the travel side, we have 2 teams that have already qualified for nationals, and we have 6 teams that are in the semifinal stage of the state cups. So it's a lot of good stuff happening. Like I said, I've never done this before, so I don't know if you have any questions or if there's something I missed.
Dennis with his little yellow hand up has a
Yes.
question.
Clapping. Is he clapping?
He's clapping. Oh, I got confused. He's applauding this time.
Applause. Thank you.
There you go. Thank you for the update and for the all the updates on, particularly on the service thing. And that's great. And it doesn't get unnoticed, but I'm going to throw out a challenge is, talk about partnerships. And since you guys do a great job, it's not that the other groups don't do anything, but I think there's an opportunity is like if you partner with PAA or lacrosse or some of the other organizations in the township and how to make the projects bigger or better, right? There might be a way just from your connections with the other organizations. Instead of everybody trying to do little things, but maybe you can do, work with Monica and say, hey, there's a big opportunity here. Like, how do you not create a challenge, but
to work together.
But
No, I like
might
that
be
idea.
opportunities there. Just an idea that came to
No, I
my
appreciate
head.
that.
So
I know
not holding
going,
it all on you to do that.
it's okay. It's my job. But I would really love for us to be able to support in a very meaningful way the 5K for accessibility. I think that's in August. So that's something that maybe I can follow up another time. But our teams play at Makefield, and our kids can. And I just would, it's our home field. We spend a ton of time there. Every family involved in YMS spends a lot of time there. And I think it would be really meaningful if we could get the kids, involved in volunteering that day or running that day, because, I just think that would make a big impact on the kids and on the community. So if there's any way we can help with that, I'd love to.
Yeah,
I'd love to hear that.
yeah, like I said, between you and PAA, they're two largest organizations.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bug in your ear, but it's, you can get a pretty sizable volunteer group.
Sure,
or,
sure. And kids that cross over too, kids that play both.
Yep.
You know, there you go. Any other questions?
Yep.
All right, thanks.
Thank you. Are there any other liaisons on the virtual line? If none, okay, Monica, you are up. Director's report.
Share my screen. All right, so we have so many things going on right now. It's really hard to cover everything that we're doing. But I'm going to try and give you the highlight reel. That sound good? All right. So today I'm going to start with Art in the Park. Our sculptures will be here in the end of this month. Really excited. Installation, I can't wait to see that happen. Really looking forward to it. We've been coordinating a lot with Artists of Yardley on programming, special events around each site. We're going to do an art fair in the park. We have many, many things. Everything's on our Art in the Parks website. So even if you Google Lower Makefield Township Art in the Park, we have an interactive map that explains each sculpture and where it will be. So we have a lot of the events listed, but not necessarily dates assigned to everything yet at this point. But we're updating it very regularly as we move along. We've been moving very quickly on this. We're looking to do it's a multicultural dance program where we have all like Irish dancers, Indian dancer, people from all over the world dancing, and kind of like a showcase type event. There's many, many things that we're doing. So it's not just art and sculptures, it's physical art, everything, dance, plays, whatever you can think of. We're going to try and do that and embed it in our parks. So keep your eyes open on that schedule. We did do a matrix, which I shared with you in the report last week. So a lot of that will be listed on our website. So that's how we do a lot of our decision making now about programs we offer. We take a look at the big picture, what's already out there, who's offering what, and what we can supplement with in our parks. So there's a matrix process to make sure we're hitting every target audience in our municipality. So that is with Capra, that's how we should be doing things. Now we're doing them the right way, and we're really being thoughtful in the way we implement. So very excited to see this move along. Does anybody have any questions about Art in the Park before I move to the next thing?
I don't know if this was ever addressed. Are these lighted?
No, they're not lighted. We can temporary light them. Yeah, but they're not normally lit.
They won't see it because they're not in the park.
Yeah, I mean, the parks are closed at night. We don't have many street lights, so in this township, so we didn't feel a strong need to light them at nighttime. If the board feels differently, I'd be glad to change gears. The next thing is we did get the Pico Green Region grant. That's a grant in partnership with Natural Lands. We're very excited about that. The grant is, we have a formal $10,000 match from the fee in lieu of fund. The Board of Supervisor voted to add another $10,000 to that to expand the width. I've been working on the width discussion with John Halferty, and we do think that we might be able to add that extra foot on for accessibility. We also were having some discussion about material. He had been doing some research about, the slip factor and also, we have turtles that need to get from point A to point B. And if we put the structure in their way all the way across, I think it was 600 feet, then they wouldn't be able to get where they needed to go. So that was something that we had to consider is how we would be able to accommodate that, like a road crossing per se. So we're looking at those issues and concerns as we come along with them. And And we're hoping this is going to be a complete volunteer project. So this is going to cover the materials. We're going to do it all in-house. So we're very excited to get started. The friends are going to help. We're probably going to be looking for volunteers. So I'm hoping that maybe we can pull in some of our leagues on that one too. We're moving right along. John and I still have some more discussion. I'll be meeting with the friends. We talked a little bit about creating agreements with all of our outside agencies. So we want to meet with the friends and discuss, how we can better partner and be better stewards together rather than, them doing their thing versus the township doing. So those are some things that we'll be discussing in the really near future. In addition to this, we'll have the Boy Scout project out there that will kind of clean up that entryway. We're looking to do some additional clean and patching at 5 Mile Woods that has needed to be done for a long time. So we'll really, we're going to brighten up that space. It's going to look very, very nice after we're done this whole project. I've been going out bi-weekly to check, and it's just the same. Yeah. I did an initial cleanup because there was some trash out there when we first took them out. Yeah. So I went out and I picked up all the trash myself, which was just a small hand trash bag. It really wasn't much waste. And then I wanted to see from that point as a baseline how we've done. And I can't say I pick up anything more than a tiny piece of trash when I go. So I think it's going quite well, to be honest. Same in veterans, same everywhere. We're doing quite well. So we just removed them from Memorial Park. So we'll keep an eye on that. But so far, so good. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm not going to pretend that there weren't initial concerns, but it's going well. So I just wanted to show a picture of what the board walking would look like and what it looks like now at 5 Mile Woods. Veterans Square. So we did not get the DCNR grant for Veterans Square. This has been some discussion with the board of supervisors lately. We are right now in the process of working with Remington Vernex so they can do a formal plan and kind of a more extensive quotes of how much it would cost in excess of what we already have budgeted to complete the whole project. The paving included, the path that goes around, the pavilion included. So we're looking at that right now. We're doing a little exploration, and hopefully we'll come back sometime soon to the board to see what we can do about potential future funding for this project. So just wanted to share that with you, that I showed previously kind of a draft outline so we could apply for the grant, but now this will have to be much more detailed engineering for the project. So that was approved in April. I'm right, April. All right. Makefield Park assessment update. I know it's been a while since we've talked about Makefield Park master plan. I can tell you we're moving right along, but there's a lot of back end work that needs to be done before we start getting to public process, a lot of research, a lot of focus groups and different community type meetings, individual meetings. So far we had 2 steering committee meetings. We had a youth focus group meeting, a senior focus group meeting, and a neighbor focus group meeting, which I don't have the minutes for yet. So if you're looking for them, I don't have them yet. I'm publishing all the meeting minutes. Everything that's happening along the way is going on the website right away. We do have an interview with the school district next week and some key person interviews that next week. And then we'll have another meeting with the steering committee before we do an open house to the community, which would be more of a formal presentation, but something that's interactive so people can give feedback on certain things, certain potential ideas or whatever. I have to say there's been a lot of consistency in what the focus groups are saying, which has been interesting across the board from youth to seniors to neighbors. And some things people brought up that I was surprised by. So I'm very excited when we collectively bring these reports back to everybody to go through some of these things with the group. Memorial Park. This is the Memorial Park ADA project. So there's a couple things going on at Memorial Park all at the same time. We do have money budgeted for shade structures, and we do have money budgeted for rubberized surface. I am right now looking at different quotes and different options for this. So I'm hoping to have more information sometime soon about where we're going moving forward.
Is there any timing issues with this? I know the budgeting, money's budgeted
Now,
this
yeah.
fiscal, right? But from
Mhm.
a weather related, like, can they do this and after with the temperature, like in the fall, or are you looking much sooner?
I'm hoping to get it done sooner. Right now I'm looking at CoStar's options, so pre-bid options for this, because it's a fairly simple I mean, well, it doesn't sound simple. I couldn't do a shade structure, but there are many professionals who focus on these things that are in the CoStar system. So we're looking there right.
You would do it all rubberized surface and the shape all at one,
It'd probably be two separate vendors.
but would we,
The shade would have to happen first before the rubberized surface.
I was thinking the other way around, but
Yeah, because if you're putting posts into the ground, they would have to pour around
Okay,
the post.
okay.
So we don't believe there should be any additional funding needed for that. We feel our quotes are pretty good. We did get the 900,000 DCED grant for Memorial Park East. So everything to the right of these trees, right here. So that is part of the phased plan that we did with the pickleball and tennis. It will be an additional playground for older children at Memorial Park. The other playground is for younger children. There'd be a shade structure there, bathrooms, some yard games, a pergola, and some exercise equipment. Oh, it's all listed here. I could be looking at it, bocce and horseshoes. So it's all that is how that project will go. We have a budgeted amount of 250,000. The township match requirement is 139,000. So that leaves us some wiggle room for some engineering and things like that we'll need along the way.
What's the
Tyler, tennis
timeline
court.
like for, oh, I'm sorry. What's the timeline like for that one? When's that projected for?
We're still in the very beginning. This could be a couple year project. It could it'd likely be into next year, I imagine. We'd have to do a lot of engineering. We might do some of it right away, but we really don't have that firmed up yet, Kim. So this is Skylark Tennis Court on the top here today compared to what it looked like a few months ago. So that's exciting. This right here is the black undercoat that they put down. Tomorrow color goes down. And as early as Saturday, we could have people on the court. So that's very exciting news. We finally got the temperature we needed. So we're excited about that. The color will go down, but we won't be able to play on it because it takes a few days for the paint to cure. So while it'll be appealing, you won't be able to go on it quite yet. Saturday will be the soonest.
Monica, if you're planning to reuse these slides, today is May 9th, not Saturday.
Oh, Saturday. Oh, boy. It's the 11th, right? The 11th
Nope.
is Saturday,
13th.
13th. Oh, for goodness sake. We have many things going on at the pool. The Board of Supervisors approved a leak detection in the lap pool. We were losing quite a bit of water last year, so we just wanted to make sure that there's nothing real big that that we would need to budget for next year. They're going to do it with the pool empty, with the pool full. They did a dye test the other day. So we were very quick to fill up the pools this year. They're already full. We did have the school Olympic pool sandblasted and painted, and all the other pools were touched up. And that is something that you'll be able to see today. This year, you're going to see that we touched up pools. That's going to be something that's a visible change. We had to have a new fire alarm system in all indoor spaces installed. I did pools are full. I'm so excited about that. I did it twice. The slides are done. The diving boards are getting installed this week. Training starts this week. We have a full staff. We are in dreamland right now with staff. Everything is looking really good. So we're all set to go. We started launching some of our advertising for our new programs, which we're excited about. So we're moving right along with registration. Things are going very well for us at the pool. And that is all I have for this presentation. I just want to mention that our pool, we're much further ahead this year than we were last year, almost $100,000 ahead in revenue from pool membership. So we're in good position. Keeps moving along as it gets nicer out. You see more people coming and registering. So let's keep that up. We have been marketing very heavily. We're looking at marketing on Nextdoor as something different because we know a lot of neighborhoods in this township use Nextdoor, separate some of the Facebook. So we're trying that out this year as additional marketing. So that's something different. But you know, we have this events schedule out. The schedule is all published. We're all ready to go. Does anybody have any questions about anything that's happening in the park system?
Any questions on the board members online?
Nothing from me.
Do we have a date for Township Day?
Community Day?
What it wasn't called.
I think it's August 26th. Hold on one second. It's that Saturday. August 26th. Mhm. So for next year, for Community Day, we're looking at doing a little bit of a facelift because we've been doing it the same for so many years. So we'll be exploring some new options. If anybody has any ideas of how we could make it even better, you know, so we can continue to evolve and offer a great product. I'd be glad to hear that along the way. This year, we're doing a lot the same. We're doing some new things, but I really think we're going to do a whole facelift next year and try and make it even better. So that's all I have for today. I could keep on going. I could talk about summer camp, but I'm just I gotta stop it there.
Motion to adjourn.
Anybody have any other topics they wanted to cover? If not,
There's a motion. to
Dennis
adjourn.
already made a motion and Michael seconded. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, guys.
Have a good week.
Have a good night.
Bye.
Right.
Thanks,